Hi guys, welcome back to the Improvement Season podcast. It's me, Steve Hall. You might have forgotten me because, I don't know, it's been 2 weeks. It's not been too long. And on the other end, as always, my guy, Pascal Steve.
Yeah, so funny, Steve, because I do remember at the beginning of the year, we've been saying like, okay, we never really miss any kind of sessions or recordings. And then this time it happened actually twice. Did it happen twice already? Can't really recall. Maybe it was this one time, but of course things happened, and sometimes when life happens, we are simply not capable of then recording something. Isn't the norm, but here we are. I really do hope that things are all right on every guys and gals end as well, and that you're ready for the improvement season.
I received countless messages to why there was not an episode. I received one message from Grant. No one else messaged. No one else was concerned, but at least I got one. So yeah, clearly,
in the end, we just tested people, seeing how much. Yeah, exactly. And he miserably failed, guys. Miserably failed.
But I do feel bad because I, obviously with the cruise and everything, and I mean, last week was busy. I haven't been able to check over YouTube comments. I don't think it's been a month, but it's been weeks. So I feel bad. So I haven't been able to see the last comments and everything like that. So I kind of want to get back into that so I can kind of update myself on what's going on. I never like to just put out content and not get back to people. Also, my old vlog, but new to the YouTube. I say old because it came out months ago on the members site. That came out and people comment on that. And I'm like, I need to get back to that. It's just, I'll do it Fridays. Fridays are always a good time for that. I'll
do it. No, absolutely. And I mean, at some point, it should be also acceptable to then, I mean, we've been doing this since now 2017. And if then life gets in the way, I mean, people will understand probably.
Yeah, life gets tough as you get older.
Yeah.
No one really tells you that. I don't know if... No, I think they probably do tell you that, don't they? What was I saw... I don't know if you see any of this. Obviously, you mentioned you haven't been on Instagram as much recently, which I think is a great thing. But on Instagram, these like 90s nostalgia pages, if you ever see those, they pop up for me. And today was like loads of like Nickelodeon cartoon intros. And I was just like, what it would be like to be like 4 years old again, just like chilling, watching the TV.
Man. I have it actually quite often thinking about it. Also because it's something that we've talked about. Sometimes the mind plays tricks on you and you think that something happened in the past when in reality it's not a memory. It's just something that you've imagined happened in the past. But for me personally, I do think that some of the memories that I'm always then running through my mind or like visually in front of my eyes, it feels so much as if it just happened like a couple of years back. And just yesterday I was chatting with an old friend of mine who I grew up with, and he then sent me a picture of like a band that he's right now seeing at a concert. The first time that he saw those were in 2007. And I then said to him, hey, do you still remember the time when 20 years ago we watched or we went to the Metallica concert in Bremen, so 2004, and we were already teenagers? Mate, this is crazy to then think about, you know? And especially like childhood memories. It's now over 30 years ago, some of these memories.
Yeah, it is crazy. And I guess this might tie into some of the discussion today because I went on the cruise, which I went on I can't believe it's over a week since we've been back now. And that was with my whole family, so all my sisters. And so going to the US, like this is what we did as kids a lot of the time. My parents, I was lucky enough, they would take us to Florida and we'd go to like Disney and stuff with my sisters. And so it's kind of a bit of a nostalgia kick being on holiday with them all because we haven't done that in so long, and like sitting down and having conversations and like reflecting on things. It's, yeah, I don't know when I started to feel like an adult. I don't know if I even do yet feel like an adult. I still feel like way out of my depth. I don't know if that just continues forever. Like, I'm like, there's so many things like buying a house. Yeah, I bought a house somehow, but all the like bits that went into it, I couldn't recall exactly what I should be doing and advise someone else how to do this.
So I think that deep inside, when I don't really feel as if I'm getting older. but of course my body's deteriorating. And the thing is, so your physical age, your mental age, at some point doesn't really age that fast anymore as the physical age does. And for me personally, the turning point was when I needed to take responsibility for a kid. So when Hugh came into my life, and then especially when Tony came, which was shortly after, so 2019, that is, right? And 2018, I came together with Katie. And this was kind of the turning point, because as soon as you need to take responsibility for then kids, you need to show them what life's about, and kind of teaching them things and showing what the world is like and all that, preparing them to become adults themselves. I think this is the turning point for the vast majority of people. You can't just act and pretend as if your actions only matter to you anymore. Your actions now have severe consequences to other people that may potentially even be more harmful than they are to you.
And so this is where I can say I can be a permanent child if I
Basically,
don't have
yes.
children.
Yeah.
I could just live it up as a kid and not worry about. I can spend my money on fucking Pokemon cards if I want to.
I mean, you can still do it when you are an adult, when you are a parent as well, right?
Yeah, true.
You can
You
then
just buy
share
it for the
that
kid,
hobby.
it's yours.
Exactly. You can do it with your kids. So funny enough, I had like a couple of days ago over on Twitter, i.e. X now, there was a post from the account. Was so hilarious, Steve. The name itself tells you everything that you need to know about what the content is about, right? And how hilarious it is. The account was called Alpha Fox. So can you imagine what they are posting?
Yeah, I know like quotes.
Yeah,
Be a lion.
Yeah, exactly, right. And then they posted a video of a parent, so I don't know, mid-40s male, bigger one. He was actually then celebrating and enjoying a concert that he participated in with his 3 daughters. And I think it was something like Taylor Swift. I have no idea. But he was singing along together with his girls, right? Like deep down inside. And the title or the caption of the video just said, "This is not what manliness looks like." And everyone under the comment section was just like, "No, you're mistaken. This is exactly what manliness looks like. This is a dude who's giving a great time or enjoying a great time together with his 3 daughters. It couldn't get any better than this."
Yeah. I sometimes wonder if these accounts do that content, not because they believe in it, because they know they're going to get comments like this where people just shit on them.
Yeah, sure.
I think about this in the fitness industry too, you know, where I'm like, people are posting stuff at content that is controversial. And I'm like, you know, you don't truly believe what you're putting out here,
probably seen the video from James Smith about podcasts nowadays.
Maybe.
The controversial nature of podcasts.
Oh,
or
I
something
think I
like
did
this.
see something. A lot of people have been talking about Stephen Bartlett recently and how he's just like a complete shill.
Yeah. And James Smith did a fantastic video about this. It was just like 10, 11 minutes long. And he was just talking about it, that most of the bigger podcasters nowadays is nothing but an Instagram account that is controversial. Simply because they are earning money because of the advertisement. And the advertisers or the companies that are running or booking an advertisement slot there, they are only concerned about clicks and views and impressions. They don't really care about qualitative impressions or anything alike. They are targeting your audience, and as many clicks and views you get, the more you get in return. So the podcast hosts are mostly then interested in getting some controversial figures on, because those are the ones who are most of the time also generating more views. It's not really about getting on experts who really know what they are talking about, because this is not really generating the views, right? It's more about kind of getting on controversial figures, because then you have the fans and also the people who don't really like those people and what it is that they are saying. And often they get into discussions and all that kind of stuff, you know. And this is why most of the bigger podcasts out there, Andrew Huberman and all that kind of shit, it's just like hoax and people who actually don't really know what they are talking about.
Yeah, I actually think I may have seen that YouTube video, the one you're talking about, because I think he also talked about Huel and why like that's even better for Stephen, because that's his own like product that he's now able to advertise.
Exactly this video, yeah.
Yeah, it's scary, and I think so many people aren't aware of it at all either. Like that's why the marketing works.
And I mean, it looks professionally made, right? With professional cameras, professional lighting, good microphones, and it's nothing else but kind of what was television back then. And kind of, I don't know, what is it in the UK? Kind of Monday morning coffee television with Piers Morgan or something like this, you know, get an expert
He's not on TV anymore.
Yeah, but something like this, you know, a round table where an expert is being interviewed, and most of the time they're just full of shit and don't even know what they are talking about. And now you have this platform where you can monetize it to have people like this on.
Yeah, that's why I just could never go there. Like with the Revive Stronger podcast, I can't bring on people for the sake of just controversy. Like the biggest we'll get into is some of these roundtables or debates with figures within our industry, but it's not like they're talking just out of their ass. It's like they just have a slightly different viewpoint to this other figure in the industry. It might mean that we talk about this all the time where we're vanilla and so we don't maybe grow as much as we could, but I couldn't use that tactic. It just sits so unwell with me, and I'd much prefer to talk to a small audience who align with our way of thinking, that I feel good about the stuff that we put out and do.
I would just feel like as if I'm scamming people and do it intentionally. And that would be my biggest problem, right? And some people may not even do it intentionally. I don't know. I have no real opinion about it, because I could see people seeing an opportunity and taking advantage of that opportunity, and then you could always ask the question of like, okay, is that really questionable morally? Because if you look at other industries, people see a niche and they fill that niche to actually make a profit. I don't know. And then also when it comes to monetary theory and all that kind of stuff, I mean, it's a more complex question from a moral and ethical perspective.
Yeah, the thing, at least I've seen with Stephen Bartlett, is some of his thumbnails, and they're quotes from the podcast, I think, for the most part. Like, they are so, like, scaremongering. I hate that shit. Like, I don't know, it's like, I don't know, if you do this, you will die. Like, I don't know, that's not even that bad, because, I mean, that could be anything, right? Like, fall off a cliff, you will die. But, like, he uses scaremongering tactics to draw people in. And it's like you said, he gets guests on who are so, like, confident and well-spoken, but I've seen people break down some of the stuff they say, and they're just making stuff up. Like, the study does, like, they quote a study, it's like, that didn't happen in that study. Like, you've just made some figures up. But people believe them because they speak so well and with such authority, and maybe they have a PhD or something. And yeah, it's weird. Podcasts kind of really, really grew, and they've become that thing. And then it's like everything, like it starts turning for the worst. And I don't know what's going to change.
In the end, though, Steve, we are just haters. That's the thing, right? Because our podcast isn't as successful, and that's why we are just hating. That's the thing. We're just jealous.
Haters gonna hate. Petite.
Yeah, exactly. How was the cruise, by the way? I mean, it's been a while now, so.
Yeah, the cruise was, so it's funny, someone asked me like, how was the cruise? I think maybe they asked me how to rate it out of 10, and I was like, for a cruise, I give it a 9 out of 10. Like, because I've been on cruises when I was younger, there were so many memories. I was like, this ship, I just feel like I've been on it before. I don't think I have been on that specific ship, but I've been with Royal Caribbean, that company, before. So everything felt super familiar, like everything. And it's funny how, like, I don't know, it's been like 20 years or something, and feels like nothing's really changed. Like everything from the food, from the service, from the rooms, like everything felt the same. I don't know if they've actually updated their ships or what have you, but yeah, it was good. There's a lot I could go into, really, but yeah, cruises, the ship was, I think their capacity is like 4,000. So it's a big ship, and there is, for every 4 people, there's one member of staff. So there's a fuckload of staff on that ship. And so, like, when you're for dinner, like you have like a sit down dinner, you have 2 waiters at your table. Like, normally you're struggling to get 1 waiter like regularly at your table at a restaurant. Like, there's 2, and it's like proper, like, very good service, like starter, main, dessert. And the funny thing is, there's an unreal amount of food on the ship. So if you want 2 mains, if you're like thinking, I don't know if I want the like I don't know, the chicken breast or the spaghetti bolognese. This happened one night. I was like, I want the spag bol. I really fancy that. But can you give me a chicken breast on the side? Because I need more protein. So you can they're like, yeah, fine. This is totally fine. You can do that.
This is what it must be like to be insanely rich, where you can just demand and ask for everything, and they will fulfill your dreams and wishes, basically.
It's kind of like that because the food is just infinite on the cruise. Some people purchase like drink packages, so you can just have infinite booze basically the entire time. You're encouraged because if you don't drink a lot, it doesn't make it worth your money.
Oh man. So it is basically just like a holiday or a cruise more so for alcoholics.
It can be.
It can be, exactly.
So we got like the soda package or something, which is way cheaper. Just meant we could get like Diet Coke and stuff like on tap basically. Which in hindsight, I think me and Charlotte agreed it wouldn't be useful. Like we wouldn't have needed it. And in hindsight, I wish I hadn't had the internet because as we were talking off air, you've taken a little bit of time away. And when you're on holiday, you like to do that. I kind of wish I could have done that because it was also very expensive. Like we spoke about last time. That was one of the most expensive things. And there's loads of things to do on the cruise. So I was like wall climbing, ice skating for fuck's sake, swimming. There was a gym,
surfing.
Did the like whatever it's called, the fake surfing experience type of thing, which was fucking hard and hurt my arms a lot. Actually, I think I think I just wasn't skilled in how I was doing that. There's wall climbing. There's like a baseball court, not baseball. Yeah, baseball. Baseball court. No baseball. Basketball, that's what I mean. Baseball would be crazy. It'd be a big field. Yeah. So basketball, you can play tennis. There's like table tennis. Like there's what's it called? Shows every night. So there's like comedians on some nights. There's like ice skating performers, dance routines. There's like a gymnast was on board and like he did a routine and stuff. There's loads of stuff. So it's really good for the person who doesn't really want to like adventure too far, because then you stop in a port. Maybe you're there for 6 hours on this island, and maybe you do an excursion, which is quite expensive, to be honest, or you like adventure out yourself, but it's pretty hard to like get anywhere very far in that amount of time. So sometimes me and Charlotte went on walks and just got lost, and we're like, fuck, we should have just got like bought an excursion or got a taxi somewhere. And
Steve, as I already said in the past, I don't know what it is with UK or British people, but I have the feeling that I know a lot of people also in the past with clients who go on a cruise, but I've never really heard from any German citizen that they went on a cruise.
Yeah, there was quite a few Brits on the cruise. Mostly were American, some Canadians, because the port was in Miami, so there was a lot of people who obviously from the US. I don't remember hearing really any Europeans apart from Brits. Don't remember hearing any Germans. But yeah, I don't know why it's an English thing. I'm not sure. But yeah, for me, me and Charlotte's, because this is Charlotte's first cruise, and she got quite into the spirit of like, there was like, what's it called? A belly flop competition. There was like world's sexiest man competition. And like, she quite likes that like whole Americanized, you can kind of see what people are doing. And part of me was like, man, I wish I had the balls, or I don't know if balls is the right word, but like the gumption to enter one of these competitions, because it would be quite a laugh. I was like, man, I'd get way too embarrassed. How was it then for you? Because I saw, of course, some pictures, you topless walking around, and clearly you are a muscular and jacked guy. And then also training at the gym there. How was it for you? What did you feel kind of at the wrong place, or did you feel that people are looking at you? Because I could imagine that it's a sight, right? Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, the average person's age was probably 60. That's what a lot of there was a lot of older people, which makes sense. Like I said, they kind of take care of you. Apparently, there's like a doctor on board, so it's like really good for elderly people because like there's a doctor at hand if you need one. But anyway, when I was like, I said this to Charlotte on the cruise, I was like, are people looking at me because I've got tattoos, which are less common, especially with that elderly like population, especially like anime stuff, brighter ones? Or are they looking at me because of like I look big? Like I probably can't tell. Both. Yeah, probably both. I just wonder whether someone came over to you like 60 years old and then, you're really strong. And then he's starting to talk about his journey when he then was benching kind of 400 pounds back in the days. He was also a bodybuilder and all that kind of stuff. But that didn't happen, right? No. Actually, there was a lot of conversations about my tattoos. Like a number of people came up to me, mostly staff to be fair, who were just like, is that fucking Naruto? And they're like, I need a photo of that, which was quite cool. So I imagine if you were on there, you would have got people like, yeah, you're like, if you're topless, you're going to get eyes on you no matter what. Like that's going to happen because of the Titans. But yeah, there was only one guy who like started up a conversation with me and Charlotte and was like, oh, I saw you at the gym. Like, yeah, you're a big guy. You're really going at it. But that was the most of the conversations I had about it.
Amazing. And the gym itself, was it good? Was it decent enough for you to get proper sessions in?
So I basically got into a routine of wake up, like try and hydrate, get to the gym and get it done in like an hour so I could be back with Charlotte and we can go get breakfast, which worked pretty well. But like when I don't know if it's been a long time since I've like trained on holiday, but you're kind of in a bit of a different mindset where I'm just like, I need to kind of get this done and be efficient. Rest times short, like just whatever's free, I'm going to use it for whatever muscle group it is. So it's definitely the sessions compared to at home. Like I came back and I was like, how was I getting this amount of volume done in like an hour on the cruise ship? And now my sessions are 2 hours. It's like, because I need rest times because I can lift a little bit better essentially, and the lift is more taxing. But also I don't remember when I was younger the cruise ship being so like it is a bit like, you know, you're on a cruise ship at times where the waves are hitting it and it's kind of going side to side. And so I'd be like doing, I don't know, a dumbbell bench press. I'm like, a rep suddenly easy, and then I'm like, holy fuck, this is like I failed. Really? Because like the shift of just the gravity of like the loading. So I'd be doing like same with like dumbbell Bulgarian split squats. I'd be going and then I'd be like, oh, I've just failed, like out of nowhere because the shift of the gravity or whatever. And it's a bit harder to balance, of course, doing those. So
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, it was an experience, but decent enough. Like it had dumbbells, cables, leg extension, leg curl, like lat pull down. It had like what you need to get a decent workout in. Legs was the worst because their dumbbells didn't go super heavy. I was trying to like
most of the time is, unfortunately, unless you're finding a gym that is really kind of that more bodybuilding kind of training gym for the locals. But I didn't really expect there to be a freaking fantastic gym on the cruise.
No, it did have a few people commented on this. It had a cable stack that was Cybex Bravo, which is, some people will know what that is. It's quite a like, I don't know, it's like a biomechanics wet dream basically, like because you can change the angles of the cables a bit more. It has a pad that comes out, so you can do like a chest supported like machine row almost off it, or like press row. You can do all these bits, which is quite cool, but it was very light. The stack on the cable Bravo is very light, so there was a number of things I just couldn't do for that reason. But everything in there was pretty old. I don't know if it's still the same stuff that was in there when I came on like 20 years ago.
They just wanted to match the audience on the cruise.
Yeah, to be fair, it was more than, there was tons of cardio stuff as well, like all of this stuff.
What kind of music did they play around? Was it kind of 20s?
You know what?
Swing music?
I don't really know. Most of the cruise, like wherever you are, there's normally music, I think, just like in the background. But I can't really remember what it was. I had headphones in the gym, so I wasn't really listening to that. Or they had like sport on the TV screens that was playing. But yeah, I can't really remember. So training was fine. Like I got stuff done. And then the food, like I said, like tons of food. So you could do a buffet breakfast, lunch, dinner, or you could do like eat in the dining room. So we would do buffet breakfast, lunch, and then dinner in the dining room. But because I'm on such an amount, like I'm basically maintaining on around just under 4,000 calories. I'm kind of maintaining weight. And I actually questioned whether or not I wanted to bring my weighing scale, my food scale, because I'm working with Cliff. I'm in kind of my pre-prep phase. I want to be very diligent and like on top of things. Maybe I'll take my scale and I can weigh stuff on my plate when I'm in the like buffets and stuff. And I didn't take it because I just thought it's a level of extreme that I didn't need at this time. And Cliff was happy for me to just be mindful when I was eating during that cruise anyway. And I'm glad I didn't take it because I fucking wouldn't have been able to use it. It would have just been a nightmare. There was just so much food. And it just practically wouldn't have helped in any sort of way. And I think it would have caused me more stress and anxiety. So I did track, but it was very estimating everything. So I just had an eye on things. But the thing is, to try and get like close to 4,000 calories in 3 meals is tough.
I can see that.
Especially with my
did you take
appetite.
stuff with you from the buffet, or was it not allowed?
You can, and I took some like cookies back, but you're not often like back to your room, and you're quite busy a lot of the time doing things. And also when you come off the ship, you have to come back on to get lunch. So it'd be easy to skip lunch if you wanted to do like long activities, which we did actually only once do that. And then you've kind of missed your opportunity there. They do have like actually pizza going on at various times of the day. So I did get some pizza and stuff. But man, I thought I wasn't particularly overestimating what I was eating. And I was having like cookies, ice cream, and like, I don't know, whatever dessert was at dinner every day. That I wasn't like trying to undereat by any means. I was trying to stay on top of it. And some days I would literally, after dinner, I was like, can we go to the buffet, Charlotte? Because I need to get like some cookies and milk to just like hit my protein and get some more calories in. Like literally did that. And I still came back. And unfortunately, I'll talk about this too. Traveling for me is quite stressful. So I know I underate the day we flew out, and the day we flew back, I underate. And then when we came home, as said, there was like life stress and my appetite was terrible. So I was trying to force feed. So there was definitely some days I was in quite big deficits. But I came back and I went out about 193 pounds. I came back and my first weigh-in was at 189. So I'd lost like 4 pounds.
Crazy. And this, even though that you're quite stressed, and often the long distance flights maintain quite a lot of water as well. And
I do often, yeah. I think it's just, I also was fairly active when we were there, I guess. I think I underestimated how active, because on the cruise ship, there's like 12, 13 floors of like steps. So we're constantly going up and down between floors, like to different places. And so I think I underestimated how much that expenditure added up for me. And so I probably needed to have even more like force fed, but by no means did I feel like I was in a calorie deficit during that trip. Like even on the days of traveling, because it was stress, of course, I wouldn't have felt the deficit, because when I get stressed, my appetite I just don't want to eat. But I was eating like, again, the day we flew, I ate like we were waiting for our flight because it got delayed. And I was like, there was a Pizza Hut. I was like, I'm buying a pizza. And I just like literally ate this like personal pizza to myself and everything. Like it was I was not trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
Came back and I've now basically met my calorie targets for just over a week now. And I'm back up at 190 pounds. So I've gained like a pound. I'm hoping maybe I'll come to 191. But I think I lost a good 2 pounds of true weight when I was out there. So I kind of did a mini cut without trying to, in a sense.
Yeah, the hardships of needing to eat a lot of calories, right?
I mean, the joke is most people on cruises, as you would expect, gain shitloads of weight.
I know. I do remember the story from Jeff Nippert, actually. After his, I think, first show he went on a cruise and gained a shit ton of weight.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I don't know why I do remember this, because it's already kind of, 2016 that I've heard him say or talk about this. So, yeah.
I mean, and I did eat, because the really cool thing on the cruise, like everything's prepared. So I took quite a lot of videos, because I'm going to do a vlog about it, because I think it will be interesting for people to see. But like the kind of food that you have available at the buffet, there's tons of stuff. Like you could make it as healthy, like really, really healthy if you want to, or like low calorie. You literally had tilapia, veggies, like tons of that. But also there was like burgers and chips every single day. Lots of people, like I saw one guy had like 2 burgers, 2 hot dogs, and like his plate covered in chips. And then they have like 8 different desserts every single day. So you could make it like as balanced or unbalanced as you want to, really. But I was eating a lot of veg because it was super tasty and all prepared really nicely, like cooked really well. But yeah, I didn't feel like I was eating so much. Like it was just a reasonable amount, but I'm like, I should be eating plenty of this too. And like, I should be eating fruits and things like this. And I know I'm having like 3 desserts a day. So I need to like balance this out to some extent. But I think it's when I'm at home, again, I'm having like 5 meals and I'm having like big bowls of like just cereal, which is super easy to just like get that down. Actually, at the moment, I've moved to my first 2 meals are just complete liquid, which gets me in like close to 2,000 calories. So it's like, I can't achieve that on a cruise.
Yeah, and by the way, Steve, I don't know if you've heard about it, but the CEO of Kellogg's,
I just saw this.
He recommended to have a bowl of Kellogg's as a dinner to actually save money. So here you have another argument.
Of course he would say that, right? That makes sense. It's fortified, you know. But so yeah, it's just, I can see why most people gain weight, but I can also see why I didn't. I think if I didn't actually track my nutrition at all, I think I would have lost even more weight, because there were times where I was trying to be like, hey, Steve, you've got like 1,000 calories you need to eat. I know you're not hungry.
Oh, sorry for that. Do you know how many steps it is that you got in on the cruise?
Yeah, so I was
on a daily basis.
I was trying to somewhat match up my activity to at home, because I was eating similar calories to at home. So I was trying to get about 10,000 steps every day. So they'd like at the top of the ship, they have like a running track. So if I was low on some steps, I'd just walk around that a couple of times, or more than a couple of times, a few times to get my steps up. But again, I underestimated the impact of stairs. So a lot of my steps were done walking up and down flights of stairs, or we're on an island and you're walking up like hills and stuff. And I think they probably count for double or something in terms of calorie expenditure. So I thought my activity was pretty stable to normal, but it was probably a bit higher.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I mean, in itself, I would imagine that you're probably accumulating quite a lot of steps if you're not that type of individual who's just lying on the pool, for example.
You could easily do very little.
Yeah. But there are lots of other activities that you could be doing and just walking around on the ship itself, because I would imagine that the ship is just like massive, right?
Yeah. It's a big, I forget how many laps of the top, but yeah, if you go, like I said, there's like 13 flights of stairs, and these are like huge stairs. Like these are like massive stairs that you're going up and down. So it's a massive thing that you can easily, like, it wasn't hard to get to 10,000 steps, put it that way, when I'm even just walking like to the gym, back to the room, to the buffet, over to the climbing wall. Like they just tot up through the day quite comfortably.
Absolutely. Let's take a short break and then be back with maybe more cruise stories. I don't know.
Do you not see the progress you would like? Are you sick of writing your own programs? Or perhaps you need some accountability in order to stick with a plan? Then it's time to start working with us. We at Revive Stronger offer a truly personalized coaching service. You'll get more than just an email with some macros or random cookie cutter program. With Revive Stronger, you will be the center of our attention. You will receive your own fully individualized training protocol alongside a customized nutritional strategy. We created the coaching around your needs, wants, personal preferences, and your own unique lifestyle. Every single week, we delve into your program in order to make appropriate adjustments so that we get the most out of your time and the best possible outcome. We help both female and male athletes to seriously change their body composition by adding more muscle mass and decreasing fat tissue. No matter if you're a competitive bodybuilder or just want to look better, if you need help with your progress and taking your physique to the next level, our coaching is for you. It's time to make a change. Sign up today and let's revive stronger.
So here we are back again. Steve, is there anything else that happened where you're just saying, this is something that I have to talk about on the cruise? I mean, it's also something in detail we're going to see in the vlog itself. But is there any kind of observation for you that really stood out where you're saying, like, this is something that I have to share with the audience?
It's a good question. Yeah, I was just thinking, is there any, like, I might talk about this in the vlog, like tips and things. But they're probably, some of the ones I'm thinking of are very cruise specific. So like, I think just what it taught me actually for future holidays is normally I'm really bad with holidays, because normally I'm like, put them off, don't want to do it because it's a stress and it's easier just to be at home. But, and actually this is a lesson. I hate flying, and every time, like, I'm so glad that I put myself out of my comfort zone and do the damn thing, because the easiest thing for me would be to be like, no, flying causes anxiety. Like, it's just not worth it to me. Leaving Ada was a stress. So that went really well. So I'm very happy about that. But that's a lesson, like, do stuff that makes you uncomfortable. Like, look at if there's a pro to doing it, like, normally it's worth it. So put yourself out of your comfort zone. The flight back, there was literally like, I hate turbulence. And it was literally like the most turbulence I've had on any flight the whole fucking way home. And I was just sat there like tense. I can't relax in those situations.
Sweaty palms and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's so bad because then I have my mum sitting next to me and she's just like asleep. My dad is asleep and Charlotte's just like chilling, watching some TV or whatever. And I'm like sat there like, why can't I relax? But it was a good lesson for that. Like put yourself out of your comfort zone. It's good to do these things. It's worth it. And yeah, in terms of like things for like the cruise in particular, no, I don't know. And there's nothing that springs to mind. I think I've spoken about most things like that happened during that time. It's just, again, a lesson to me that like I definitely don't need to be worried about gaining weight if I go on a holiday when I'm in a mass phase. Dieting might be a bit different where I have to keep it a bit tighter. And it reinforced also taking protein with me. So I had sachets of protein powder, which if I didn't have would have made it tricky to get my protein as high as what I wanted it to be. So I think it was a good reminder to have that.
I had the same thing with our holiday as well. I took like, so I have several kind of bags of whey protein still at home from the time when I was working together with Prozis. And of course, because they are only kind of only 1 kilogram sachets, or kind of bags rather, it's not just a sachet, they are emptying quite quickly. And I just was about to actually make use of one and I just took it with me. And I didn't even empty it on holiday, but I was still having my whey shakes. When there was a time where I knew that I'm probably on the low side of the protein intake, I just had another shake. Easy as that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just a no-brainer for people like us. Like, take some protein powder with you. It's not a big deal. But I did take some of my like pills, supplements, but I wouldn't have been concerned if I didn't take those. Like creatine, I was like, I can't take powder creatine. Like, I just don't have an easy way. Don't worry about it. So yeah, it's just, I think the more times that you go on holiday and do these things, you just don't need to so much stress about those minor little things. And you come back and I'm already back into the swing of things.
Exactly. Sounds very similar to me as well. I had also my pills with me, and there were kind of 2 days where I didn't even take them, and I didn't even bother taking creatine with me because who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just several days, easy. And you're probably not malnutrition. There's not going to be a huge deficit building up over those couple of days, especially when you are eating at a buffet. You're not in a deficit and all that kind of stuff. It's nothing really to worry about.
Yeah, no, for sure. And one thing it will reinforce actually in addition is, man, the difference between, like, because I can already feel it being a bit jet lagged that first week coming back and then having life stress. It is, I underestimate, like the amount that someone might look at my training, the fact that I probably on average spend an hour and a half to 2 hours in the gym 6 days a week. It's a lot. I do a lot and I train really hard. If my life is not in such a way, I can't do that. Like if I work at home, I have very good sleep in bed for 9 hours, sometimes more. My nutrition is on point. If that's all there, I can cater to that level of just, I want to be pushing on all cylinders, gaining as much muscle as possible, making the most out of my time. If I have anything that doesn't allow me to do that, I feel like I'm like, how the fuck did I used to survive these sessions? Like that first week back, I was like, I'm destroyed. Like these sessions are like completely wiping me out. I had to reduce sets on things, and slowly I'm getting back into things as life is settling. I'm getting my sleep back. I'm just like, it was a good reminder of, like, you can see why some people can only do like 3 days a week, certain level of volume, and because they've got all this other stuff going on in their life that they cannot commit like you are. It was a good reminder.
100%. And that's why it's a little bit of a pet peeve when someone who's in their early 20s, and nothing against people who are in their early 20s, but someone who's getting financed maybe even by their parents. They don't have to work in order to then finance their studies. They are only studying maybe something that doesn't even require them to be 60 hours in the university or so. Some studies definitely do that, but the only thing that they need to think about is kind of learning, right, and applying. They don't need to take care of a dog. They don't need to take care of kids. They don't need to get in kind of money and all that kind of stuff. It's someone like this gives out some recommendations or gives some shit to, I don't know, a woman who's kind of taking care of 3 kids by herself and all that kind of stuff. Man, don't even get me started with something like this. Right? And I just hope that sometimes there's a little bit more, that those people are a little bit more grounded and humble in their expressing their views and opinions, because I am under the opinion as well that you can do a lot still besides doing things, right? But there is, of course, a limitation to how much people can take on. And it also there is an individual difference because of stress tolerance and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, what is it some of these people say? Like, everyone's got 24 hours in a day. You just don't want it bad enough.
Yeah.
Shit like this. It's that they just lack complete empathy and putting themselves in other people's shoes, which...
Yeah, not just this, but in just real life or anecdotal evidence of what the world really looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was a good reminder of that and the importance of it. And where, like, I will have clients who... I've had this multiple times where they get a bit more sleep for whatever reason. Maybe it's the kind of Christmas holidays and they're like, I feel so much better. My training's going that much better. It's like, where you can gain these little bits, definitely do it. Or if they forget to do their, like, some of my clients will do like an hour of mindfulness or some yoga or something, not because I necessarily prescribe it, but they find that useful, or they just have some downtime. And when they don't have that, and just everything starts like building up because they haven't had this ability to drain that stress that has been building up for them. Yeah. So yeah, it was a good reminder of that. And also, I will say, I pretty much on the cruise, I trained every single day that I could. And so that was, I don't know how many days in a row, like 9-10 days in a row. And everything was taken to zero or failure on things. But when you're in a position where your nutrition isn't completely on point, your like hydration isn't there, your sleep maybe isn't there, like you're just not in a position to present your best to those sessions. Like, it's funny how you can just recover from it because you're not providing the same sort of stress as what you can when you're in an environment where you can like fully lock in, fully focus. You haven't got like waves across the boat, or you're trying to get it done as soon as you can. So I think it's a good reminder of how important that is too. Like, you can't just coast through training because you'll notice that you survive some training that you don't think you should. And when you have that level of focus and quality control, then you really see much better results that way.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So yeah, that was the cruise.
No, and what's the plan now?
So basically, I have checked in with Cliff, and he was just like, hey, it's like your appetite isn't great. Things are a bit stressful right now. Let's get back to your usual, what you had pre-cruise, see where things lie, and then we'll take it from there. I think I might have spoken about it on here, but also we had our episode come out not that long ago last week on the last week. It will still be last week when this comes out with Cliff, and he doesn't do a lot of like pre-planning. Like, I will do like a blueprint from stage and like pre-plan when prep is going to start and things like this. And some people have asked me that, like, when is the diet going to start? And at this point, I don't know. I think me and Cliff are just waiting for life to get a bit more known and stable, and for my like diet to continue moving in the right direction, which I'm feeling better day by day and able to get in the food a little bit easier day by day as stress is dropping. So we just have to see where things lay. But if anything, I'm now kind of ahead of schedule because I lost some weight. So yeah, I don't know. I know Cliff wanted to keep my weight within a certain range, and I think he was more so thinking he didn't want to go too high than for it to drop. But what will be. I think it would have been worse probably for me to have come back 3-4 pounds heavier than 3-4 pounds lighter.
That's
so
true.
I'm not worried about it. I don't think I've lost any muscle there.
And also considering it wasn't kind of 4 pounds of fat mass that you've lost, probably you will regain a little bit, or you have regained already a little bit, right?
A couple of pounds,
yeah.
So next steps, I'm not sure. I am actually, including that week just gone where I trained, I'm now into like a 6th week of a mesocycle as such. So I'm kind of just like gathering myself though. It's funny how quickly upper body stuff is maintained pretty well. Like, I could just pick up where I left off, but lower body, because I didn't have the same level of load that I have now, like it's like hitting me like a bit of a ton of bricks. And performances, like I'm having to go back to like a week 2 performance rather than picking up where I left off. So I'm just being smart about that and not like destroying myself immediately.
No, I can see that. Especially because you guys, as already mentioned, you take one step at a time. There's no need in rushing things. I think giving you a little bit of time to get acclimated again is a sensible option here.
Yeah. So we'll have to just wait and see how things go. Where are things for you? Where's training? Did you speak to Mike about your kind of skiing trip much?
Yeah, a little bit, because we mostly centered around kind of stretching and mobility drills and how to address things. And I took a little bit of advantage of him. It was kind of a consultation, but it wasn't, because I think we touched on general things and that are also applicable to other injuries, for example. And ever since coming back from the holiday, I'm on a very strict mobility drill, trying to make my, especially hips, much more mobile, and figuring out what really holds me back and what causes the problems. And what I'm more and more figuring out for myself is that, of course, it all stems from the hips that I had surgery on back in 2016. And mostly it could be that it's due to that internal and external rotation, especially like internal rotation is very, very limited. And that is the main focus point for me right now. I'm focusing on improving the internal and external rotation at the same time, and then see how things are evolving and developing from there, and see whether things are getting better. Because once again, I'm in chronic pain when it comes to my left side of my leg, and I can't really tell whether it is getting better. I have the feeling that there is some improvement, but it could also very well be that it's just because I'm doing something, I'm getting a little bit more activity in. I will have to wait and see. The thing is, I can't really expect that it's getting, that is quickly improving, simply because I have been dealing with that for such a long time already. And because of that, I probably also need to expect it to last a little bit longer before actually I can really see some major improvements there. That's just the state of where I'm at the moment. And this, of course, also impacts training just a little bit. Also with a low back still. It was a more severe muscular thing that I thought that it is. And I didn't really give it enough time and rest that it needed, probably. I was still doing activity. I was still then going in, because there was the time of then going on holiday, skiing and all that kind of stuff, where I then didn't train the back. But of course, due to still rotating and folding, you still kind of put a little bit pressure on the back. So never really had the break that it needed probably to heal appropriately. And then when I came back, I was feeling eager to go back and train again. This is probably not giving the back the rest that it needs to really heal properly. I know it sounds irresponsible, but it's also something where I'm just going in there trying to figure out what kind of movements I can do that doesn't really aggravate it. But also it could very well be that by that, even though that I'm not directly targeting that area or experiencing pain while I'm doing the movements, it probably still postpones or at least extends the recovery period.
With the mobility routine, how does that look for you? Do you have it like at a certain time of day? Does it take a certain amount of time for you?
Optimally, I like to do it early in the morning. That's not always possible, because early in the morning I'm also doing my client check-ins. I like to go to the gym, but I'm waking up very early in the morning anyway. And sometimes there's a gap of opportunity for me. And if not, then I'm doing it in the middle of the day to then once again get a little bit more agile and mobile. And I always have the feeling that it feels good afterwards. But once again, I don't know if it's just like a false perception of reality,
Yeah, it's kind of, it's not like foam rolling, because foam rolling has research that shows it has some acute benefits to like mobility and that sort of thing and pain tolerance. But I don't know, there's other things where I might do something or be told something. It was actually a weird example, but took melatonin on the flight back to see if that would help. And I'm like, I at least want this to have a placebo effect like to help me get to sleep, because I know it should help me. So I can see. How long do these take you? About half an hour, these sessions, or?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
So at first I needed some orientation, and that's why I was then following things from Tom Merrick, the what is it again? The Body Warrior over on YouTube. He's doing like lots of mobility drills, and he does it very well, in my opinion. So I've been following his stuff, which I sometimes still have on while then doing my routine, just so that I can orientate myself in holding certain stretches, because otherwise I think you're fooling yourself in how long it is that you're actually then holding it. And if you then have someone talking and saying like, okay, and now contract it a little bit, work against it, then you do it automatically as well for your stretch. And I've noticed already just by doing it on a daily basis, what kind of stretches I have the feeling don't cause any kind of discomfort, but do something where I would assume that it has a positive impact on my mobility. And that is basically what I'm doing. And once again, lots of working on my left side because my right side is much more mobile than my left side. So I rather than spend and focus a little bit more time and attention on the left side that needs the work.
That makes a lot of sense. And with and I think following someone through it, I think would also be like a good move. Something I want to get better at is doing some vacuum work. Not cleaning, but stomach vacuums, so that I can hopefully use that on stage. I don't know if I have the rib cage for it to look good, but I think if I had a YouTube video of someone doing it and I'm doing it along with them, I think that would actually help me get them done.
Because it's just boring when you're just like there and you're maybe not even having any kind of music on or so. I don't know. I don't hold those stretches as long, and I don't think that I'm as intensely going into the positions as I'm supposed to.
With your training then, and by the way, it kind of goes without saying, super sorry to hear that you're in constant pain and this is impacting training because it just sucks. And I totally understand that you're in the gym trying to work around it. What lifts is it stopping you do? And do you feel like it's like holding you back with any muscle groups?
You mean the left side of my lower body?
Yeah, like can you still hip hinge? Like you still do a leg press?
It's something that I'm trying, that I'm avoiding right now. So any kind of RDLs, SLDLs, it's mostly due to my back rather than my hip though. So what it is that I'm doing is more like knee flexion movements. I'm primarily focusing around those. And the other knee flexion, so squatting patterns is just the regular Bulgarian split squats and then also Smith machine squats still. I'm moving, though, a little bit more slowly on those to reduce also the loading and really force myself to stay in that proper position so that there's no kind of shift in the hips because the loading is too heavy, because sometimes you don't even notice that while you're in the set itself. And it's something that I would like to avoid right now because I really want to fix things, But other than that, no, for the back, I was trying to avoid any kind of single arm work right now because I had the feeling that this always caused my right side at the lat attachment down at the ribs, or rather than the spine, to actually flare up or make matters worse. And right now I'm focusing then more so on upper to mid back kind of flared out elbows, pull-ups, and all that kind of stuff. So I think that there's always a way around it, and then you can see this as an opportunity of focusing on other kind of aspects and giving it a little bit of break. And once it's ready again, then you can go back and focus on that.
Forced specialization.
Exactly. It is. And that's the way that I see things. And I do remember the time, Steve, when I was going through surgery, that I was asking on your podcast a question to Mike on how then to go about the recovery period. And it's exactly what he recommended back then, of like, see this as an opportunity. Because when do you ever take the time to really just solely focus on one body part because you can't train the other body part? Right? And I see this as more of an opportunity also then to really get to it, commit to something like a mobility drill over a longer period of time, because I really do have to commit to it, because it's clearly not getting better by itself. And also, I don't want to feel like this for the remainder of my life. So I have to take action now. And then we will have to wait and see how things evolve from there, whether it's getting better, whether I'm just so limited that I can't really improve things, which I doubt. I think that you can probably still always improve things around your mobility to some extent. How much though, and if it's enough, just time will tell. But I'm trying my very best.
Yeah, I know we've been talking about this for a long time, and I guess it makes sense. Like, it comes in waves and troughs, and it just sounds like it's kind of built up to a point where it's consistently bad enough where you're like, I have to do something different here. And it all stems from the surgery that you had within that hip, right?
I would very much assume, yeah. And I never really did any kind of follow-up mobility drills, which I should have probably done. And this is just pure speculation and assumption, Steve. So this is, I think then you would need to consult with a doctor to get the confirmation. And even then, I don't even think that there's a possibility to really figure out whether this was the culprit for it. But I could see that because my hip was impacted, and because my left side probably also compensated because my left leg wasn't allowed to put any kind of pressure on it. I do remember the time right after surgery when I was laying off my crutches that my left side was much smaller than my right side with the leg. That there maybe was also a compensation going on over the years that then built up the problem, right? And especially after the surgery, I was, of course, doing some physio, but maybe I didn't do enough in order to then recreate the mobility that my hip needs in order to move appropriately. And if it then is kind of stuck in one place, doesn't really move as freely as it's supposed to, maybe it creates then over time those issues and problems. Something like this hardly ever just happens overnight. Yeah. And I could see that it just accumulated over the years now, and it got to the point where it's just so bad that I need to take action, because it was already bad 2 years ago. I do remember, because this was also the time where I was on snowboard holiday, and I could already tell, like, man, this is very, very painful to actually snowboard, but I just pushed through it. But this year, the first ride down, I came to the station and I could already feel like, okay, I can't do this. If I continue, then I will fuck up my hip big time. And this was just by the first ride down, which wasn't really a long distance. And yeah, this was the moment where I realized, like, okay, I need to do something now, because I feel like a 70-year-old dude in the body of a 36-year-old dude. This can't be it. So
did you do much skiing then, or did that mean you had to really hold back?
I transitioned over to skiing. Yeah, I'm a skier.
Oh, sorry,
now.
That was snowboarding, and so skiing was less painful.
Exactly, because I thought, like, okay, my hip is giving me issues because of the twisting motion, and if there's a lack of internal and external rotation, right, my hips take all of the damage basically, and my knees do the rotation, and the knee joint isn't really made for internal and external rotation. And this is then where the problem accumulates rather quickly, and all of the impact, all of the twisting motions just like damages the hip and also damages the knee. And I thought, let me just give skiing a try. Let me see whether this works out. So I went to a skiing school then the next day, took some lessons, and it worked just fine. And then I became a skier, a professional skier.
It's like I'm a professional ice skater now.
Yeah, exactly. And a surfer.
Yeah, man.
And
I didn't even surf. I just bodyboarded. Yeah. I will say, climbing is fun, and climbing walls are really quite common, but you can't just muscle your way up. It doesn't work.
Have you
my forearms were so pumped.
Yeah. This is I said it in the past already, Steve, that I have an ambivalent relationship with bodybuilding. I find it utterly ridiculous, especially the community behind it, who then thinks that they are doing something great. And I don't really want to now shit on anyone who thinks that, or that they are proud of their accomplishments, or even you, Steve, who wants them to be a professional bodybuilder. I'm just stating my perception of the state of bodybuilding, right? I find it to be an utterly ridiculous sport. I can absolutely understand why some people say that it's not even a sport, right, in comparison to other things. At the same time, I love training, though, and I love doing this, So don't get it the wrong way that I'm just shitting on it. However, there are certain things out there in the world that are truly impressive. And bouldering, for example, is one of them. Have you ever seen kind of the World Cup of bouldering? So climbing, it is ridiculous, Steve. It is absolutely insane. you just watch this and you're just mind blown of how the hell people can climb like this. This shouldn't even be possible in your worldview, and they are doing ridiculous stuff. Or something like yo-yoing. You just need to watch this. There's this one guy out of Japan who has been kind of the World Cup winner for like several years in a row. There are different kind of categories that you need to then be the winner in, right? So I think that there are 4 different categories, which is like also with 2 yo-yos at the same time and all that kind of shit. But you watch this and you just can't fathom how this is possible, for example. And this is truly impressive, right? And then we come here, just step on stage with kind of nothing really on, pose for 5 minutes, and yeah, that's basically it.
I can't say I have the same opinion on you of what's impressive, because I think there's hugely impressive elements of bodybuilding and competitive bodybuilding. And I can see the same sort of like, what's the point of yo-yoing and bouldering? But I can see they're super cool as well.
It's not about the point about it, but the skill set that is required in order to achieve something like this.
Yeah. I would say you could like argue there's a similar important skill set to have. It's just different for bodybuilding, though. No. It's more of a
How would you want to make that argument, to be honest? What's the skill set about bodybuilding that is like then required? Everyone could be doing this.
No.
But I don't really think that everyone could actually pull this off to actually do these kind of things with a yo-yo.
I would say that arguably is challenging to get to the top as one another.
Yeah, absolutely. But what's the skill set behind it? It's kind of lifting. Yeah.
It's more the consistency that's demanded of you and the lifestyle adherence to everything each and every day. I'm not going to try and argue that one's more challenging than the other or whatever. I still think the skill sets are required of an individual to be presenting something impressive or competitive on a bodybuilding stage. That's just very different. It's a I don't know if it's a sport or what. I know Eric Helms has like a paper on why he thinks bodybuilding's a sport. I don't really care, but I just think it's so different to every other competition in many ways. I do think there's elements of it that are totally ridiculous though. And the thing I wanted to bring up before because we could probably go back and forth about this for ages, is have you seen that wellness is coming in for men in bodybuilding? No. This kind of epitomizes your argument, I think, in some ways, of why bodybuilding can be looked at as ridiculous. But I think it's like this guy it's coming in Brazil or something where they're doing wellness for males. Yeah. So it's like upper body doesn't really matter. You want like huge thighs, huge glutes, and you wear like Speedos essentially, like very similar. Right. And you do all the wellness poses.
All right. So the meme about the T-Rex body comes into fruition then.
The T-Rex, yeah. You'll see it if you search like wellness men IFBB. You'll see it come up, and you'll just be like, this. What do we say? It's like 2020 now.
Yeah. Do you think that it will then at some point turn into the same thing as men's physique and basically classic, that they are just growing bigger and bigger and bigger up to a certain standard, where you could easily make the argument, just give them a different kind of pair of shorts, and then you could easily also compete in the other divisions?
This is the unfortunate thing, is I do find most divisions meld like into one, unless they have very strict guidelines like body weight and certain levels of condition, because that's what happened with men's physique, and it's happened within the natural side as well, where it used to be quite like a beach body, like not extreme of a look, whereas the condition is so close to now bodybuilding. The size, they basically could go into classic and be very competitive immediately. Yeah. And I think in the enhanced side, it works a bit better because it's almost like levels into each.
That's true.
But on the natural side, it's like you could put the winner of the men's physique, and potentially he could go and win classic. He could go and win open bodybuilding as well. And it's like, why do we have so many categories then? Because we just don't have the ability to get as muscular as these other guys, so it doesn't quite work. If wellness hasn't come into natural bodybuilding at all for females even yet, because I'm like, where do you put that? There's already like 3 categories for women already that I think differentiates females well enough. I don't know. It's a confusing time.
Yeah, it's the thing that you said. I think for enhanced athletes, because of the substances and because you can undergo such more incredible transformations, female and male side. I think it makes a little bit sense to have the different divisions. But for natural bodybuilding, even there, making the argument of like classic physique is already hard to make, in my opinion. Because if you are a great classic physique athlete, you can easily compete in bodybuilding and also do very well there, which isn't really to say, or it's not the case actually, in untested or enhanced bodybuilding, because the open class is just like mass monsters, and you would actually look, relatively speaking, tiny in comparison to those big guys if you're in classic.
Yeah.
But in natural bodybuilding, I don't know.
Yeah, that's where bodybuilding gets a bit weird, is like when they start creating so many categories, it's kind of a bit wild. And you probably would have liked, what did they used to have in the IFBB? It was like, I think it was just women, but it was more of an athletic class, and they'd actually do like tricks and like performances on stage.
I think Dana Lynn Bailey did it, didn't she?
Possibly.
With jumping around and doing kind of, I don't know, kind of gymnastics kind of style.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. So, yeah, anyway, I don't know how we got to this discussion, but we're there and we've been speaking. I didn't want to
offend you, Steve, with that I think that bodybuilding doesn't really require a lot of skill to actually be performed.
I don't take offense, but I just think it does, but it's not the same sort of skill set. It's kind of a bit of a different one. But I'd be interested to just hear what people think in the audience, because I think there's people that definitely will align with you. But maybe there'll be some people. I think we need to
don't
flesh
just
it
take
out
the
more.
yo-yoing example, because I think yo-yoing, especially when you watch those videos.
Now he's backtracking.
Because it is just mind-blowing. But it also then is about something like, I don't know, solving the Rubik's Cube in under 10 seconds or so, right? Something like this is just like crazy accomplishment, in my opinion. It requires a certain level of skill set.
Dexterous hands.
Maybe it's just you can't really compare the two with another, because it's kind of comparing apples to oranges or something.
They are quite different. Yeah, right. That's a good way to finish it.
Right.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for bearing with us. And let us know your thoughts and opinions on things. If you have any questions, as always, drop them in. We will be looking at the comments. Apologies if we're a bit slow on those sometimes. And yeah, as always, if you're listening this far, and you better be subscribed, give us a review. If you're over on Spotify, share it. Let us know that you're listening. And we'll talk to you next week.
Losing weight fast while maintaining muscle mass. Sounds too good to be true, doesn't it? It isn't though. It's reality, and we know how to do it, and we will help you achieve this. The Minicut Movement is an 8-week fat loss program to make you lose a huge chunk of fat while maintaining muscle mass at the same time. We will support you from the beginning to the end so that you see the results you would like to and come out of it much stronger. You'll receive a fully automated spreadsheet that is based on your nutritional needs. You can choose between 6 different male and female training templates. Over 30 videos will guide you through each and every single step of the Minicut so that you're getting the most out of your journey and that you always know what to do. But the best thing is that you can start whenever you want. The Minicut Movement is open 24/7. So if you want to learn more or you're ready to sign up, hit the link in the description below. So let's revive stronger together.